Hi, my name is David Cook and I am the clarinet professor at Millikin University. In this video we'll be talking about the fifth of the 21 foundation studies compiled by Rhoads. This is by Schröder. In this etude, it's important to get a nice light articulation because you have so many articulated notes throughout this etude. We don't want the tongue to get fatigued and we don't want it to ever feel heavy or plodding. It should always have a nice bounce to it. So I like to practice these legato to start. And that reminds me to be as light and as delicate as possible with the tongue. Only the tip of the tongue really contacting toward the tip of the reed. Another thing in this etude that will be very helpful to you is to make sure you have fast enough air when you're crossing into the clarion register. I like to really accent the note before when I'm practicing. So if we look at measure 26 for instance, now it sounds a little ridiculous that slowly and that exaggerated, but when we go faster, and it's going to have a lighter quality and all of those notes are going to speak really clearly. And I also find accenting that middle triplet helps us avoid rushing through this passage because we have a lot of fingers moving. It keeps us grounded rhythmically. Another aspect of this etude is to plan your breathing. There are no real places to breathe anywhere in this. So I like to go through and actually mark out where I'm going to breathe based on the phrases and how long each phrase is. Something else to consider with this is should you slow down between some of your breaths. For instance, I like to take a breath after measure 20, and I'll actually do a slight retardando before that. So if I were going from 17, so on and so forth, that helps sort of ease the listener into that breath and make it feel planned and intentional rather than sort of a gasping for air. One important point in this etude, both in measures 9 through 12 and measures 33 through 35, is that notice that it's short crescendo, not one long crescendo. So measure 9. Make sure you come up but then also come down. Then later at 33, I like to actually treat these as pseudo pianos after each crescendo. Instead of just one gradual increase in dynamic. The last thing I'll say about this etude is that I've always found it helpful to practice in very small chunks and actually taking different rhythms, dotted rhythms, to practice these. So this etude is based on triplets. So let's take measure 25 as an example. We can go slowly, of course. But we might try long, then too short. And then short, long, short. Too short and then a long. And while we're doing this, making sure we're mindful of good air support, musical direction, and a light articulation. And all of those different ways of practicing it is going to make it that much easier to play how it's written. So I would go through in any problematic areas in this etude, I would apply that approach. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about what we talked about in this or interested in taking a lesson with me, send me an email at dcook@millikin.edu. Good luck with your all-state auditions and happy practicing.